Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Press R. Opposition political parties in Cameroon since the advent of multi-partyism in the 1990s have known changing fortunes. Only the courageous ones and their leaders had the temerity to challenge the monolithic one-party system that had existed since unification in 1972. Today, there are close to 400 political parties in Cameroon. The majority of them exist only by name. A good number of the active ones, about 20, have found justification to be swallowed up by the powers in place. The SDF, under the late chairman Ndifon, is the only rationally radical opposition party that has given the ruling CPDM a run for its victories over the years and stayed its course. Now that Fundi, whom we describe on the press outset today as the spiritual leader of the SDF, has passed on, the question we shall attempt to answer on the program today is, has he not died with the selfless opposition in Cameroon? Or rather, we should say, has selfless opposition in the country not died with Chairman Fundi? And to talk about this, we give tribute to him. He's a patriot by all standards. We have with us Tenant Lucas Cheffor, who is the publisher of the Reporter newspaper. Welcome to Press R today.
Thank you, Kilian. I hope by the end of this program today we would have given due respect for somebody who stood and changed so many things here in Cameroon as far as our democracy and our political grounds are concerned.
Yes, and we are going to move from one end of the set to another. Welcome our own Professor Paul Nkwi, anthropologist and a former political bureau member of the SDF. We are pleased to have you on our set, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and yes, next to you we have Prince Michael Ngwese Ekoso, who is the national president of the United Social Democratic Party. Social Democratic Party, like Social Democratic Front.
Yeah.
You're welcome to Professor.
Thank you very much, Kilian. I am very glad to be here once again and to discuss on this very burning topic, because the chairman, John Fundi, was... Many people see my pictures with him and they wonder whether I was not part of SDF, But I can say that late John Fundi was an inspiration for me in my political adventure. And today I have the privilege to be able to say one or two things about the impact he created in my personal life and to the rest of Cameroonians and the world.
Thank you very much for coming. And there's a resemblance between the Social Democratic Front and the United Social Democratic Party.
That's
so
right.
Both of you were socialists.
Of course.
Okay, we're going to tell us exactly how you've been moving on.
That's right.
And what you know of him. Now we're going to introduce Professor Elvis Ngole, who is a political scientist and a member of the Central Committee of the CPDM. Prof, we welcome you with a lot of honor on Press R set today.
Thank you, Kilian, and it's a great honor and privilege once again to share this very prestigious platform with these very eminent personalities and friends. It may be unfortunate, but again, for me, it is God-given that on this day, the day that everyone says is a Father's Day, that will talk about a man and a major political actor of the likes of Mr. John Fundi, who, for many Cameroonians and many across our borders, and is unlike many, and will be remembered as that one political actor in Cameroon who has inspired many and has changed
so many
has changed so many things and has contributed immensely.
You're going to tell us all what you think he has contributed, Prof. We're going to get to that, especially as so many people have described him as a Republican, a word that you like so much. You're going to tell us very much about that. We have another guest, Mo Welters, who is the Public Relations Officer for Alaji Baba Danpulu, who is going to talk to us about patriotism, also certain things that are happening to a Cameroonian, and he has come to talk about that. We'll join him to talk about that on Press Asset today. But let us look at what the press fed on in the week that just passed with Yoti Kaleli Songe. Press review.
It was like a flood this week. News on the demise of Ndifon Frunzi, a hero and astute politician, filled newspaper columns. Chronicle Times describes it as the end of an era, dedicating 4 pages to the man Senator Mbelamuki Charles says brought added value to the country's political structure. Indeed, goes the Guardian Post, stating that the man who quit the stage at 82 fearlessly launched the SDF and battled for the return of multi-party politics, evoking his role in keeping Cameroon peaceful, one and indivisible, amongst other achievements and reactions, on 9 whole pages. To municipal updates, power returns to God, pinpointing Frunzi's love for country, and Frunzi as the man, the politician, the farmer, and book vendor. He was an emblematic leader as seen on Cameroon Tribune. A falling political baobab, Cameroon Insider, reports that the head of state and nation are mourning. Following President Biya's condolence message to John Frunzi's family, the Horizon further indicates that John Frunzi was President Biya's only ever real obstacle, emphasizing that he was the torchbearer of Cameroon's democracy, while also enunciating his stance on the Anglophone crisis that earned him enemies and friends even at death. A series of reactions pour in from political figures, admitting that John Frunzi was a model. The print media couldn't resist doing editorials on what's next for the SDF after Frunzi, some declaring it as a dawn of uncertainty. The Sun recounts that the SDF national chairman came, fought, and almost conquered. Professor John Kengasong and Anglophone literary guru passed on this same week. Readers were also told that 32 Ambazonia fighters have surrendered in Ndian division of the Southwest region within 1 month. The national coordinator of the NDDR Center tells the Guardian Post that 3,520 Ambazonia and Boko Haram fighters have joined the DDR centers, and Cameroon Insider concurs, revealing that 100 fighters in the Northwest, Southwest and Far North regions have surrendered in 10 days. The Herald Tribune on its part focuses on the June session unfolding in Parliament. The Post discloses that amongst the 6 bills adopted on June 9 is a bill to institute the Charter on Child Online Protection in the country. The GC board has equally suspended some examiners over malpractice, while the NCC warns promoters of programs with homosexual scenes that it is against Cameroonian laws and customs. This week as well, a video surveillance center was inaugurated in Douala and 104 million worth illicit skincare products seized. The print media audience also caught wind of CAF disqualifying Cameroon and restoring Gabon at the Under-23 AFCON, just like they were informed that a Moroccan has won the 19th Cameroon International Cycling Tour. These and more kept readers abreast of the week's news.
Thank you very much, Yoti. The press was dominated by the passing on to glory of Chairman Ndifon Frunzi, National President of the Social Democratic Front, SDF, and that is what we're going to talk about. We're actually going to ask ourselves here on the set with the specialists that you have, politicians, anthropologists, and journalists, whether the opposition has not died with him, given that some of them have already been almost absorbed, and some are getting too radical for the point where we think that may not be building our country. So we're going to discuss all of that on this set. But there is another event which is of also national interest: the freezing of the assets of Alhaji Baba Danpolo in South Africa, and the same bank in Cameroon has had his own payback. We're going to know what exactly is happening with the public relations officer for Baba, Alhaji Baba Danpolo, who is Mo Walters, Bente. Welcome once again. We want to know what exactly is happening.
Thank you, Kilian, for inviting me. Today is Father's Day. Just permit me celebrate the fathers I have here, including you yourself, and my able father, Professor Ngolengo. I don't know whether camera can take it. People are saying every day outside there that he is my father, politically advisor. He taught me in school. So we have no
Happy
problem.
Father's Day to you.
Happy Father's Day to the fathers.
Please, let's talk about.
I'm coming there. That's why I'm here. But I can't start with that saying Happy Father's Day to the
we got that already.
Thank you. Now, Alhaji Baba Danpolo, that we popularly call Ndawara in Cameroon. It's a Cameroonian that is dying somewhere. And I'm here to ask, is it a crime for a man to be blessed by God with resources, and he uses resources to create wealth and employment for people? Is it a crime for a Cameroonian?
It cannot be a crime. Please,
No.
Let's get first to the point.
Let me tell
This
you.
is the point.
I will tell you. Yes,
This is the point.
Yes.
We want our viewers to please to understand what the problem.
My anger, you can understand the dimension
no,
coming
yes.
from.
Please, I want to calm your anger.
Thank you.
I want to calm your anger. Are we okay?
Yes.
Now let us understand what the problem is.
The problem is,
and then I know your anger is calmed already. Can we be calm?
Yes, I'm okay.
What is the problem?
In 2017, a man named Alhaji Baba Danpolo, that what I will call Amadou Baba Danpolo, a prosperous businessman, Cameroonian by nationality, a patriot, a man who loved this country, based in South Africa, got loan from a bank, the PIC, in South Africa. That loan was to the extent of 22 billion francs CFA, with intention to buy a house, not to stay there, not to carry prostitution, not to host armed robbers, but to sell South African nationality. That house was bought without money. As time went on, the loan had to be payable back within a time lapse of 10 years. He paid from 2017, 2018, 2019, approaching 2020 when the COVID-19 came. And every business operator can accept with me that with the existence of the COVID-19, irrespective of where you're operating, you have issue with your business career. And that is at the point where the problem started. He had a delay in paying a sum that the bank in South Africa who gave him this loan intended within the space of less than 1 month. And instead, like we have accepted that a contract is an agreement between parties, flexible, that can be modified at any time when it arises. But frustration of contract, you want key parties in a contractual relationship.
So what happened?
Our own brother, our own father, I'm talking, they're hearing me. They got Alhaji Baba's account completely frozen because he was asked with the remaining 7 years remaining to complete these 10 years to pay the complete 20 billion francs on the spot. Let me tell our viewers that that is not his problem. Because even in the midst of COVID,
gradually. We have understood that he had problems during the COVID. Walters. Walters, please. Gradually. No, please. If you talk like that, we are not understanding you here. Our viewers will not understand you. So that problem happened, and his assets were frozen.
And the intention wasn't because he refused.
No, he couldn't. We have said he didn't. Not that he refused. His assets were frozen. Now in Cameroon, what has happened because he has won a case and blocked the accounts of the same Public Investment Corporation, PIC, that has a branch in Cameroon. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's acknowledge that the Cameroonians were in a state of law. He has not blocked their account.
What has he
The
done?
laws and judiciary of Cameroon has permitted it to be that if a Cameroonian who has invested of that nature in South Africa and is doing well there, and we equally have South African company like MTA and Shokokam based in Cameroon do well, and you cannot tell me that my name is Mu Walters Mbente. I have an account having Mu Walters separate, I have another one Mu Mbente separate. I am the same person.
Yes, you
and
have
tomorrow
1 minute.
You freeze completely all my account. I tell you, I don't see any reason why in South Africa you completely freeze my account, not only on 22 billion, but more than 500 billion. Meaning the intention is to reduce him to zero.
Okay, thank
not
you.
even with interest.
Thank you.
So the question is
yes.
it a crime for a Cameroonian that we even want him to invest in this country, to invest in South Africa?
It's not a crime. Thank
we
you.
are
Thank you.
Cameroonians.
Yes, calm down. Calm down. Waters.
It's painful.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say so.
No, it is okay. You know, when we speak gradually, our people still understand us.
Yes,
we understand your anger.
Yes.
Yeah, people have understood what is happening. So that is it. Prof, just reaction in 30 seconds.
Yes, it is very sad to hear of the case that involves our compatriot and a very prosperous businessman, Mr. Amadou Dampolo. I know him personally to be a very responsible, personable, and likable Cameroonian, and who is patriotic. And the fact that he went to South Africa to invest, which is his right, according to in the spirit of Pan-Africanism and according to the laws of South Africa, for us to see that this is happening to him, I think that it is a violation of the spirit of Pan-Africanism, and I think that South Africa is a country which is democratic, where the rule of law is practiced.
Thank you, Prof.
I'm very convinced
Thank you.
Within the framework of the rule of law, justice will be rendered.
Yes, Prince. Prof, I gave him 30 seconds. He has taken 1 minute. Please, can you take 30 seconds?
Well, the basis of all of these things is to maybe frustrate Africans who are striving to do well in their continent. And it is an awakening for all Africans, wheresoever they are, that they must understand that they have to collaborate among themselves in order to push the continent to the position where other continents and all the rest of the world can be able to respect us. We cannot keep on doing these things the same way and expect different results.
Thank you. Yes, Prof. Nkwi.
I'm amazed at the xenophobia. It began a number of years in South Africa, which we saw it at the grassroots has actually risen to a very high level. I think that is destructive.
Yes, we got that. Yes.
Because Dampolo is a really great investor, and the spirit of Africanism, it's in him. Otherwise, he would have not plunged his money in South Africa. He could have done elsewhere.
Thank you very much. Yes, Lucas, 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds.
Yeah, Kilian, I saw our brother was very, very emotional about what is happening to Baba Dampolo in South Africa. It is natural because, you see, somebody has the intention of building Africa. Yes. He goes and invests in Africa. Then only Africans are against him. It doesn't make sense to understand. Yes. Because what he has invested in South Africa, I think he has built South Africa. Yeah. You look at the skyscrapers. I'm telling you. He has built South Africa and he has employed South Africans. Why should they go after him when he has spent his money there?
Thank you very much. Thank God that the courts are there that will settle the case, and also thank God that we are part of a small world, that what happened there have roots here and is being taken care of. Thank you very much. Our topic, ladies and gentlemen, you saw how emotional they were. They were just defending a patriot, a citizen of Cameroon who is in difficulty. Our topic today is on the demise of Frundi, Chairman Ndifon Frundi of the Social Democratic Front, who has died, and we are asking the question whether the opposition has not died with him. Selfless opposition, where you don't look at yourself, you are not out there just to grab something and abandon the people. That is our topic, and we are going to start with Professor Paul Nkui, who today we take him as anthropologist, but we also know that he is a former, because of the responsibility he has, he's a former political bureau member of that party. Prof?
Thank you.
John Frundi.
Really?
A patriot?
He is a patriot which carved his own position in Cameroon history. And he sowed the seed of democracy in Cameroon. And I don't think that spirit will die. At least his spirit will continue to inspire the peace-loving people of Cameroon. Listen, Frundi virtually came out from modest beginning. He was the disseminator of knowledge. He had several bookshops. And once he told me, look, Paul, I don't author a book without knowing its content. And I'm sure that his early careers nourished what we began to see in the 90s.
Yes, Prof, exactly. We cannot let it go like that. In the SDF now, we have 34 insiders, members of the SDF party, who have gone against the party at the time Frundi was preparing to actually hand over at the helm of state the leadership of the party. But 34 of the most active internal members of the party rose up against the leadership. That spirit, is he not dying with that spirit you're talking about?
I don't think that his death has energized even the party. There is no society without divisions, but the management of those divisions is critical to all leaders.
Okay. Now we got that Professor Elvis Ngolingoli. Professor Paul Nkui talked about Frundi as a patriot. We are asking you, what we have known, what we know today is that some opposition political leaders call for people to come up and break. They even to come up and revolt against the state. This is an opposition leader who is described as a peacemaker. How possible? Another kind of opposition leader?
Yes, and even though you think you've given a distance between myself and Professor Nkui, but actually there is no distance. We tend to have the same appreciation of the man and the political actor that Mr. Frundi was. You know, he described him as someone who came from modest beginnings, but as he knows and we all observed, he remained always modest. He remained modest, and this coming from a militant of the CPDM, the party which he fought against and competed with for more than 33 years, maybe should surprise some people, but it's no surprise because we view politics as in the Aristotelian manner, that we are in politics because we want to serve others, we want to serve society, we want to serve that which is general to everybody. And so what each and every one of us contributes from whatever angle, from whatever corner should be appreciated. And this is where Mr. Ndifon Frundi's value lies. This is a man from modest beginnings. He remained modest, and But in his outing, in his contributions, we can describe him in all superlative terms. He was charismatic, he was emblematic, he was brave, bold, courageous, and he remained a patriot in spite of everything, and in many ways was unique because he never gave up or compromised his beliefs. He was a man of strong convictions, and he was faithful to those convictions. And we have to say the meaning he gave to politics in Cameroon, and in particular party politics, is that in his outing, in his approach, he showed that a political party, particularly if that a political party finds itself in the opposition, as the SDF party has been for 33 years, should know that you have to go with the values that you hold dear to. You have to go with the values of your country, the republic of which you are a part, and you have to make sure that you resist any tendency or anything that can drag the creation that you lead in another direction. And that is why we give him credit for resisting forces that wanted to drag the SDF in the direction of radicalism, in the direction of revolt, or in a direction that was negative. He resisted that and matured the party in the direction of a party of moderation. When it was hot, yes.
There are moments that when he spoke, people feared.
People feared, yes. And he resisted that. Those who wanted that he should go out and let the party carry out a sort of open revolt, even if it meant armed revolt. He himself, by his own words, said, I'm not going to be a leader, and I'm not going to walk on the blood of my fellow citizens just because I want to be a leader. Okay. That's a statement of conscience, human conscience. Okay. That's a statement of conviction for a political leader. And we have to say that because of this approach, he made the SDF, he matured the SDF into a patriotic party, into a moderate party, into a responsible party, and into a party that believes in the unity of Cameroon and the future of Cameroon. That is very good. That's a legacy, and a party that believes in peace. That's one of the legacies that we have to remember.
Yes.
The other day,
we are going to visit.
We were at his residence, and the family received us. Okay. Both the biological and political family received the delegation of the Secretary General of the Central Committee, Mr. Jean Kwete, very warmly, in a very human way. And I tell you, this should teach Cameroonian political parties, particularly those in the opposition, that there is no war between political parties, whether you're in the opposition or in power. We are all working together in the same direction, and there is no enmity, and there is no war, because at the end of the day, we are all working for one another.
I wanted to take the microphone from you, but you've touched this point. If the CPDM, you and your Central Committee Secretary General represent, started working in the same direction as the SDF under Fundi, was that not signaling the death of the opposition?
No, it was not signaling the death of the opposition, because the opposition is not a political organization or association to oppose everything and deny everything and see everything in negative or in black terms. No, that warmth with which the family of the late Mr. John Fundi welcomed us at his home in Nkulfulu should teach the opposition that it is not a compromise when you show the human spirit, human feeling, when you show human appreciation, because at the end of the day, all political parties want to get to power. They want to be in power. And you shouldn't be in power by any means, at any expense, and to negate everything and blacken everything. No, you should, at the end of the day, you should be in power as a human being. And your power must have a human element and a human face. Because at the end of the day, we are all in power.
We'll give you credit. We'll give you credit on that, yes. Prince Michael Ngwese Ekoso, a political leader, the president, national president of the United Social Democratic Party. Yes, in some places I see you had pictures with the late Ndifon Fundi, and your party is the United Social Democratic Party. you should have similar ideas, socialist ideas.
Yeah, basically, I would like to use two words to be able to make my submission. But before I do that, I want to say something that Prof mentioned, a word about radicalism. Radicalism is not a negative disposition. Radicalism is a state of being where you take certain decisions that could affect people positively also.
Against one side.
Yes. For example, if you Fronti was radical, he has always been radical, and he stayed radical until his death. And I think that that spirit of radicalism is what we need in this country to be able to make things to work effectively, because we have a lot of laxism in our country where people think that things will just happen miraculously. People don't take measures. The radicalism is to take measures to push things to happen.
Okay.
So that word is not a negative word, like Prof position it. And I want to continue to say that I will use two words. I will use the word commending and recommending, as long as Fronti is concerned. I will start with commending. I will commend Fronti because the word commending is to hail somebody, to project him, and all of that. So, Prof Fronti, for me, he was like a father. I was not very, very close to him, but I sensed that each time I got the opportunity to meet him, I sensed that spirit of fatherliness from him. He will always, when we are sitting, because he always receive people on his dining table. You must always eat when you come to his house. And when people are seated, I remember the first day I went to Tarikon, I was seated somewhere away from him. He called me and put me to sit by him. To me, those are kind of values that actually translate into leadership. And this kind of leadership is what we want in this country, where people become more humane in their leadership. And when people are not humane, it brings our country into a position where people start to want to become radical, because you cannot be eating all the cake which is meant for everybody, and you think that I will sit quiet and say, no, God is going to, I should not oppose because God, they say that you should be submissive and so on. Those are all elements of distraction for me. And to recommend Prof Fronti, I would like to say that all the things that have happened in this country is thanks to him, in terms of multi-party politics.
Not like all, at least. Not all, cannot be all.
Kilian, can I? You brought me here to speak. So when I'm speaking, you are objecting me. It's like you already have what you want me to say. If you want me to say something, tell me. I will say it.
I'm just being rational. He alone cannot be responsible for everything.
Fronti came up politically in this country in a time that people could not say a word of what was happening in this country. You could not protest. You could not go against the regime. You could not say anything against the system. That was the moment that Fronti came up. And for that reason, we owe him a lot of respect. We owe him a lot of recommendation. And for me, as an individual, I think that I have taken up that kind of spirit of Fronti, because I don't compromise. If I was supposed to compromise, somebody like Prof is here, who is like my father also, but he's on the CPDM, I would have told you, I said, hey, Prof, you see, I'm hungry, oh, please, can you put my name into the CPDM? But I have stood my ground, because I remember one of those days, Prof Fronti told me, he said, young man, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. And for me, certain things that certain people tell me, I take them more seriously, even right on to my grave. And I think that we should copy what Prof Fronti did for this country.
Thank you. Thank you, Prince.
Move in that spirit.
I'm not leaving you as the commending him and recommending him. Yeah. I'm going to ask you. You've made a statement that after him, you are going to continue. We have elections in 2025 officially, but we don't see any of you mobilizing. We are already almost at the getting to the end of 2023.
Kilian, let me not allow you to learn on that subject. The issue is this: people people, I don't know whether it is Cameroonians or whether is the regime in place, they always want to know what is happening in the opposition camp. We will not tell you people.
No, you should make noise. Like, you should make noise.
Listen, that is the problem. That is the problem in this country. The system creates pseudo parties to make noise and create a situation where people feel that there is democracy, or there is freedom of expression and so on. That is not it.
You mobilize your supporters.
The mobilization is going on. People are talking about coalition and so on. Even I see even members of government trying to push opposition to go for a coalition. How does that concern the ruling party to push opposition to go for a coalition? So what I want to say is this. The opposition party, they are doing their work silently, because we have learned that when you keep on saying the things that you want to do, the regime in place takes it and then frustrates it.
By not saying those things and not doing anything, they can also take advantage to put you out of the game.
Okay, let me tell you here. We are having 7 major political parties, including the USDP, where we have been sitting for more than 2 years now, talking about constructive politics and how to be able to take power in this country. And we had already made a gesture by suggesting a new recommendation for the electoral code, which the regime became frightened about it. So whatever happens, we must understand that the opposition is working and working vehemently and seriously on that.
Thank you. I take that. Before I get to Lucas, I just want you to watch this, and we'll talk about Fundi as a peacemaker.
Secretary General, may he rest in peace, held a press conference and told Cameroonians that, look, I'm telling you, drum his chest, I'm telling you, I'm an insider. Fundi is whining and dining with Mr. Biya. I say, as you said that about me. Luckily for me, Mr. Biya came to Bamenda within that period. And we met, and the pictures are there for all Cameroonians to see that when we met, had the first handshake and said, Mr. Chairman, I am happy to meet you for the first time.
Mr. Chairman, morning. How are you?
It was a nice meeting where we agreed that the dialogue started, the stalemate has been broken, and given the constraints of time, we cannot discuss much, but that we've come together and the discussions will continue.
What you've been gearing up, and what you met today, because the first time you're meeting on a one-to-one basis, officially at least, what is your impression of him?
Well, maybe I could have asked him that question too. To see the Fundi that they painted, but I think that we were all relaxed and we discussed frankly from the heart, and he appreciated that. And but nonetheless, he had to bring up the issues of Elekam with him, and we'll be looking into that.
Thank you very much. We want to extend our regards to George Iwane, who is a technical advisor at the Presidency of the Republic, who did that interview in 2010. That was on the 10th of October 2010, during the 50th anniversary of the Defense and Security Forces that took place in Bamenda. And you have heard the Chairman Fundi made some statements there. The stalemate is broken, dialogue has started. Lucas, when you watch that, I know you have also been so politically involved. You are a publisher, but you know so much. What do you say up front there?
Yeah, Kilian, you see, I'm a journalist, but I've had the opportunity to work close with Chairman Fundi. In 2004, I was Chairman Fundi's press secretary. This is something people don't know. And how did I become his press secretary in 2004? Prior to the coalition, prior to the election of 2004, the SDF had a think tank that decided to create a parallel communication unit to follow all the coalition and see whether chairman was going to be elected the unique candidate. And they looked for somebody who was neutral. So I was not part of the communication department of the SDF, but they selected me. They took me. Somebody recommended me. They took me, and I went round for all the coalition rallies. And every time I came back, I wrote a report, and I said the chairman will not be selected the unique candidate. The think tank would present it to the chairman, and the chairman was a bit erratic. Then one day I asked the chairman, Mr. Chairman, why do you think you must be the unique candidate? He responded immediately, what are the other people bringing to the table? I could not ask another question. I have the following. What are the other people bringing to the table? So I got some sort of instinct. There's somebody who knows who he is, who knows where he's going to, and the others were only trying to use the cloud around him to get to where they wanted to go. So when we came for the selection, let me say selection of the unique candidate here, I had written in one of my reports, the report I still have, that if chairman goes above the third criteria, I would have said I did not do my job. First criteria chairman went through, second criteria chairman went through, third criteria chairman was eliminated. And when chairman was eliminated, fortunately because I was given this background information, the SDF party had been preparing, if the chairman is eliminated, what should we do? They say, okay, the option was that if chairman is eliminated and not selected as a unique candidate, the SDF will go for elections. And behold, the SDF went for elections, and chairman who are not prepared and who are not selected to be a unique candidate came second. And the candidate of the coalition came distant, backed by 10 parties.
Yes.
I want to.
We have 10 minutes to go.
Yes, I want to land on something.
Yes.
I want to land on the magnetic aspect of Fundi and the way Fundi could react. When I thought he could react without thinking twice, and his reactions were always unique. During that 2004 elections, we arrived one place in the Northwest. Let me just bring this anecdote there. We arrived one place in the Northwest, and the CPD organized their own rally just a few meters from where the SDF wanted to hold their rally. And the CPDM started their rally before the SDF. The CPDM leader, who was a minister by then, got up and said the SDF that the CPDM is a bird in hand, and the SDF is so many birds in the bush. So I heard it. I went and told the chairman, see, this is what they have said there. The chairman surprised me when he mounted the soup box. The chairman told me that if you go hunting and you catch a sparrow that we don't eat, will you keep it or you throw it? People shouting, you throw it. He said, so consider the CPDM as a sparrow that went hunting, throw it and then go for the right bird. Well, so these are spontaneous things that make me to like the chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. In 30 seconds now, you didn't answer my question. We followed what happened in Bamenda when chairman met the president of the republic. Yes, and yes, the stalemate is broken, dialogue.
Before then, chairman was telling Cameroonians, and you can go on record, see, he said the day we meet Paul Biya, things will change. That the day I will meet Biya, things will change. And we were afraid that the things that were going to change were going to be not. Kilian. No, it was truly was a. The opposition, don't turn an opposition to be a profession. An opposition is a transition. No, we got that. We got that, Prof. The one other thing I should go to Professor Paul Nkwi. One thing that you and the chairman at the time convinced people with up to this moment to know that chairman was a peacemaker is this statement, the force of argument and the argument of force. How did you play about with that?
You know, there are quite a number of politicians who have never asked the question, what was the social democracy? The social democratic policy that Fundi brought on to his platform was to change the way in which from birth to death the government will follow you through. Provide education, provide employment, provide social services, etc. And probably even in the party, the policy of the Social Democratic Front, I'm sure many people have not read that, was was not just a copy of different social democratic countries in Europe or elsewhere. It is a practical example in how to change the system, give education, health, and economic opportunities. At least this is what he fought for.
Okay, thank you very much.
And this, he died wishing this country to remain on that track.
Very good, and that's why we're talking about him here. With that mincing words, we've talked about that, the force of argument, the argument of force, and he ended up with the force of argument. Now, there's one other thing that was characteristic of the late Ndifon Frundi: power to the people. Today, there are some opposition political parties who are asking Cameroonians to go and break, and people are saying, no, you have your children in Europe, you have your children elsewhere. For us to go break, you bring your children to lead us. Can we say that it is part of this power that he gave to the people and the general education level, the literacy level of Cameroon, given that we have a good system of education where the literacy rate is over 80%, at the level of basic education, we are told is over 100%. So could we actually say that this power to the people, he is part of giving the power, making people know that, yeah, if you destroy your own self?
Yes, I mean, as Professor Mkwi said earlier, I mean, the whole idea, the notion of social democracy is to remain constructive, positive, as long as you're serving the basic interests of the people for whom you are engaged in politics. And he has indicated what those are, you know, those basic things, social security and those amenities, education and so forth and so on. That is the thrust of what social democracy is. And the fact that in his approach or in his method, he believed in the principle of the force of argument, which was to show you that that was his own way of maturing the party away from radicalism, and that brings me to the point where Mr. Prince Ekoso said earlier. You know, in the Cameroonian understanding of the word radical or radicalism, they think it means the argument of force. Whereas I agree with him, the notion of radicalism does not mean that it is the argument of force. But in the Cameroonian understanding parlance, it is that. It's almost like the word management, when you say manage. In the whole concept of management, there is no such thing as we understand management. When a Cameroonian says manage it, go manage, at the manage. It's different from what the notion of management is. That's exactly what radicalism is. Cameroonians tend to think that in their understanding, radicalism means the argument of force. Yes, that's force, destruction, violence, and good. I mean, anything is by any means. No, radicalism means those ideas that are constructive enough, positive enough, in order to make a positive difference in the lives of everybody. And that's what social democracy is. If we can, through our education, give enough knowledge to Cameroonians to understand that, yes, you and I can disagree on the ideas or on the understanding of how policy should be, but you and I should also agree that no matter what our disagreement is, we shouldn't destroy that which is beyond us to destroy. Well, Cameroonian understanding of radicalism is that if we don't agree, you spoil it, destroy it. That is what they consider radical. And that is where we say Mr. Ndifon Frundi will go down as having left a legacy of peace, in the sense that in his approach of the argument of the force of argument, he imbibed and educated his militants and others and other Cameroonians who are not even social SDF members. And we in the CPDM party appreciated this about him.
Thank you very much.
He understood that, yes, you should put your points across according to your ideology and your philosophy, but be constructive, make it palatable for everyone to feel at ease with it, but seek not to destroy. If I don't like you, I don't like your approach and the way you manage, you run this program and you do it professionally. I don't give myself the right to destroy this table.
Exactly.
I don't give myself the right to destroy
you very much. Thank you, Prof.
Yes.
Lucas, you know we don't have much time.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, please answer in 40 seconds. So, Fundi made sure that he used the force of argument and respected the institutions, the Republican institutions. So, by losing elections narrowly in 1992, he did not light the fire that some people advised him to do. So is that one of the lessons that you are saying Fundi left with Cameroonians?
Yeah, Fundi did not only leave that. You see, the CPDM government, Professor Ngole can agree that CPDM government copied a lot of things that the SDF criticized, and they improve on it. So at the end of the day, SDF was running this country in one way or the other by criticizing things that were not going. The electoral code, all those things were criticized by the SDF, and the CPDM took it into consideration. So to me, Fundi did a lot of groundwork. And I want to say something. Yes. People are saying that the dwindling fortune of the SDF are good. No, Fundi is because when Fundi improved the system, tried to improve the system, the CPDM too learned how to fly without perching. Okay. So that's why things were changing, and they were changing for the good of Cameroonians.
Okay, that's good.
And then they invented
the transparent?
The argument of experience.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say that, you know, after listening to everybody, I appreciate all the presentation and the submissions, and but I still want to emphasize that when Professor Ngole keeps saying that Cameroonians, their notion of radicalism is destructive and all of that, it means that we Cameroonians, we are stupid, and you know. But I want to say this: we should be honest. The regime has helped in radicalizing certain Cameroonians by pushing them to the wall. Because if you use the force, the argument of force instead of the force of argument, then you are not governing anymore. Most of the times, the regime in place has used military might to be able to quell down dissenting voices, and which is not a strategy for leadership. You cannot continue to put people in a position where they don't have a voice, and when they want to raise up that voice by any means, you suppress them. Okay. So there's a way, Kilian, there's a way that you push somebody right to the wall and he will react. So in our view, and for this country to remain peaceful, like Fundi has helped to make it peaceful, we should know that government is not only there to be able to punish people when they commit a crime or to just deal with people anyhow. Government is there to be able to listen and understand the plight of the people and work towards that.
Thank you, Prince. You are the president, the national president of the United Social Democratic Party. You are a young person. I wish you well to become the president of this country one day. And when there is a situation where you should use force, you don't use force. We look forward to that. Yes, I think just the last word from Prof. Nkwi.
I think Fundi is really an icon. Okay. He shaped the politics of this country, and properly defined how this country should move ahead.
Yes,
and again, I'm still emphasizing that some people have never thrown their eyes on the social democratic program that Fundi left us, which he designed, adopted in their Congress, and nobody.
Okay, we hope Cameroonians are going to get acquainted with that in 30 seconds. When I give you, Prof, I don't know how to stop you. Please, now, yes, because our time is up. We are just taking 2 minutes because we started with some 6 minutes lateness. Tell us what we have learned that Cameroonians should learn from the example of Fundi and respect their country.
Yes, what the lesson that Cameroonians should learn, or I hope have learned, is that in his peaceful approach to politics by giving priority to the force of argument, he has left the legacy that first an opposition is essential in a democracy, but that for that opposition, especially when that opposition finds itself in the opposition, for it to be meaningful, to make a meaningful contribution, that opposition has to be mature, responsible, constructive, positive, and respectful and patriotic. And I think this is what we remember him for. And that is why I noticed the whole world, and even us who are of the CPDM, we are touched. And you heard, not only did the head of state make a statement of condolence, but the Secretary General of the Central Committee made his own statement of condolence and gave me the honor to accompany him to go to the residence.
Yes.
And we dined and commune with the family.
Thank you. And I don't know how many up to today, just 2-3 days after that, 3 permanent members of the UN Security Council officially sent messages of condolence to Frundi's family, the United States of America, France, and Britain. So, Lucas,
I just believe that Frundi has not labored for 33 years in vain. I want to believe that from the ashes of what he has prepared, is going to come a rightful opposition that will take this country ahead.
Thank you. So we are concluding. We are concluding that Frundi has not died with selfless opposition in Cameroon. That's the conclusion we have. But it is up to the opposition leaders in Cameroon to prove to us that they are going to denounce violence, respect Republican institutions, and make sure that the interests of the country goes before any self-interest. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we make time for you on today's edition of Press Hour. There will be a full broadcast of this program on Monday at 2:30. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.